The following is a Joel Michalec production. On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. She asked him to leave because he wouldn't listen to the Joel Michalec Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. Hi, Sharen.
Oh,
how you doing, Sharen?
Oh, I hate that.
It's what I'm doing.
I
hate what?
I dislike being called Sharen.
It's my Carol Channing impression. When I was younger, my voice was better. I did impressions. I was like Carol Channing.
Okay.
It's like saying Channing. It's like saying Sharon.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Sharen, not Sharon.
I didn't say Sharon. I said Sharen.
Yeah, but it's not Sharon. It's not.
So apparently you do a good Carol Channing too.
Apparently. So hi, everybody.
Hi. Welcome to the program.
Welcome to the program.
Yeah. Sorry, my Carol Channing voice didn't deliver well. I thought you would get it right away, but...
No, actually, I didn't even know that.
I had this all in my head a different way earlier today when I was thinking about, like, when we were...
is this what you were thinking
some
about?
Some of it, yeah, that was some of it, yeah.
When I randomly met you
I
in
know,
a
right?
store.
In a store, yeah, we were hooking up in the aisle.
Oh, my goodness, it was crazy. It was funny, too, because I watched you. I was pulling up into the parking lot as you were crossing the
really?
road. Yeah.
Oh, I'm stupid then.
No, why?
Because I didn't see you at all until inside the store.
Right, because you only have eyes for me.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right. So welcome, everybody. The website, as usual, is www.jmtalk.net. That's where you can go. Subscribe to the program, listen to the 24 channel, check out the news and the blog and everything else that we have to offer there, including access to the YouTube channel. Now, also on social media, you can find us at Facebook at JM Talk and on Twitter at JM Talk Radio. You can catch Sharen on Twitter at, what did I say? It was JM Talk Radio Sharen? JM Talk Sharen? Oh, man, come on. We got to get this and hang it up so I have it until I get it memorized.
And I'm not like the Twitter kind of gal.
You're not. I'm your Twitter kind of gal. I'm the one doing all the Twittering for you.
Okay, everybody, you heard him say it.
So,
he's a gal.
Instagram, JM Talk Radio, and also send us an email at joelmichalecradio@gmail.com if you like email.
Absolutely.
So, there's that. Well, now I got more time to fill since the intro didn't go like I expected. So, what do I got? What do I got? No, I did have content. It just, I wasn't prepared at this point for it. So let me go check.
Okay.
Let me go check the vault. Let me go check the weekly vault, as I call it.
I started reading a story on MSN. It was actually headline news, and it was about this, the 9 people that were murdered in Mexico.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know that it was a thing back in the late 1800s where Mormons, fearing persecution for being polygamists, they took off for Mexico and Canada because it became unlawful in the United States.
Yeah, I thought I read something about that before.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like common knowledge, air quotes, that the Mormons, oh gosh, they're polygamists. How can you be a Mormon? You know what I mean?
Right.
But no matter the reason for the murders, it was all women and children, and the people who did the murders mistook them for rival drug cartel.
Right. Yeah.
Women and children.
Yeah.
Look, I know that women and children are not to be eliminated in the drug cartel aspect. I know this.
What?
In other words, what I'm saying is, if you see a gang or a gaggle of women and children driving down the road in Mexico, the very first thing that crossed my mind would not be, oh my God, rival drug cartel.
Right.
But they could be. You know what I mean? It's not like they could be discounted as being rival drug cartel because they're women and children. Here's what I'm saying. Stop looking at me like that.
No, I'm just...
And I don't want to dive too deeply into it.
Right.
But I saw, like, all week I saw headlines, the 9 people murdered in Mexico. And I really never, paid attention to it.
At this point, I don't know why anybody goes to Mexico. Why would you go to Mexico with all the problems? I mean, over the past, I don't know how many years, it's, Americans that get murdered and kidnapped in border towns and found murdered in Mexico.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, Mexico is, has a reputation in the last, X amount of years for that. So why would you even go to Mexico?
But no, they lived in Mexico. They were born and raised in Mexico. This is a faction of people that left Utah and started their own colony in Mexico back in the 1800s. So these particular people were then born and raised in Mexico.
Right.
Because they were part of that whole faction there. So it's not like they drove down to Mexico and was surprised because they were murdered.
Right.
No. They already lived down there for generations. So
the humanity of it all, period. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's disgusting no matter how you look at it, but it just threw me for a loop that it could be an excuse used for murdering them.
Right.
I don't know. It just surprised me.
So, I thought since we had an event, or I had an event this week, that we should talk about it because there's very little information about what we think I encountered this week was. So let me set the audience up for what happened.
Okay.
This happened on Monday night, and I only remember Monday night because I was watching Monday Night Football.
Right.
And I thought I was watching it. Anyway, so I was sitting there watching the game and then also watching the funny videos on Facebook, on my tablet. And when I heard what equates to the exact sound that a very full balloon would make if it's popped.
Right.
And it was coming right from the basic area that I was sitting. This isn't something that shook the house as loud as it was. You didn't hear it.
No.
We can't say whether the world's most famous schnauzer, Molly, heard it because she was under the bed after a few minutes when I came in to try to wake you, which was not happening. But she goes under the bed on her own. She also, when she hears loud noises, runs, does not bark.
Right.
So, can't tell there. But, I mean, it was so loud. I, looked everywhere. Couldn't find anything wrong.
Right.
No pictures dropping. I mean, I would equate it to a very loud version of something falling off the wall and hitting hardwood floor, not carpeted floor.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Which we have.
Right.
We have carpeted floors, not hardwood.
And so all the electrical seems to be fine. So it couldn't have been an electrical arc. And we also don't have any electrical issues. So, I mean, I tried at this point to debunk everything. And
you were trying to use logic.
Right.
Where apparently logic could not be found.
So what we did find is this thing called EHS, or exploding head syndrome. Now, my head is intact for the listeners before you. Otherwise, I'm like,
No, your head is you're fine.
Right. So basically what this is, and I never heard of this, but here's a rather interesting medical definition of it, is when you hear a loud noise right before you fall asleep or wakes you up, and other people don't hear it. It may sound like fireworks, a bomb exploding, or a loud crash. Some people have described it as a gunshot, cymbals crashing, or a lightning strike, and also the sound of a balloon popping.
Right. Now, having said all that, this is not the first time that this has happened.
Well, we're not sure because we never finished having that conversation.
No, we didn't.
You didn't answer my question.
I did answer your question.
You didn't because I said, I asked you if you heard that. You never got back to me, and I forgot to ask you that night. We're talking about the lightning, the thunder in Lewis, Delaware?
Yeah.
Some years ago?
No. I did not hear thunder cracking.
So that night, when we were sitting, and you were sitting in that chair, I was sitting in this chair, we were watching TV, I was reading The Mist, and I know I dozed off then.
Yes.
And I jumped out of the chair and hit the ceiling and all that other stuff.
Right.
Why are you now telling me like 8 years later that you didn't hear anything? 9 years later.
I told you then I didn't hear anything.
I don't recall that.
Yeah, well.
Then this would mark the second time.
Yes.
That's why I was asking you. I can show you the text. You never answered me on the text.
There was so much going on in my day today. So much going on.
Well, this was yesterday, but okay.
Well, okay.
So,
no, you asked me today.
I asked you yesterday. Anyway,
what?
Back to the conversation at hand.
Okay.
So it would appear, unless something else logical reveals itself, that I experienced this, and it also was a very stressful Monday after a stressful weekend, and they said it's induced by stress. And then, so even though this is the thing. I told you I feel very confident I was wide awake, but apparently, as I said to you, maybe I was subconsciously starting to drift, and then it happened. There's just no logical explanation for what happened.
Okay.
It was towards your chair, and I was sitting on my couch.
And I was in bed.
And you were in bed. So
right.
in this area, but drifting that way.
Okay. So, as I said to you this morning, I guess, since you said we had this conversation yesterday, this morning I said to you, because there's many times when that has happened to me, where I was nodding off and I hear this loud explosion, or that, for lack of a better word, just a loud explosion. And I jolt awake, okay, not realizing I had dozed off, okay? But as far as you're concerned, there's many times when you've dozed off, and for whatever reason, I tried waking you up. And you're like, I'm awake.
I don't do
oh, come on.
Don't be telling lies outside of school.
Over the air. Let's not do it over the air. Because, sir, you do.
Well,
I mean,
I realize that. I don't know what it is. I just feel very strongly that I was awake. I feel very confident that I was awake, but whatever. There is no other explanation. And I'm sure, as loud as it was to me, it should have startled you, even though I could have set a bomb off and would not. I was begging you to get up and help me search this house for whatever happened, and you would not wake up. You were mumbling at me. You would not wake up.
Yeah, but
I needed you.
I am not.
Like the birds need the rain. You know I need you.
But when I go to sleep,
like the flowers need the rain. I'm sorry.
I am not medically induced sleeping. In other words, I don't take anything to go to sleep anymore.
Right.
And so.
So anyway,
I don't know why,
folks,
you
it's called exploding head syndrome, EHS, and guess what? It's more common than you would think.
Yeah.
That's the real interesting thing. Now, the good news is that doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. If you dwell on it, though, it can happen more often, and it could also you could develop sleep deprivation problems.
Right.
So I slept well last night. I didn't dwell on it last night. I did not sleep Monday night.
Right. Yeah,
I think
you were saying
maybe 2 hours. I could not fall
that's
asleep
so
because my
horrible.
mind was charging at what was the problem.
Right.
But
And I feel bad because I was sleeping like a baby.
yeah, I mean, I would have more confidence even if you were sleeping out here in the chair, and if I would have been like, "Do you hear that?" and you would have said no,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I mean, so I'm not dwelling on it, but the logic in me still wants something.
Wants to figure it out.
Wants some material, things. So, but yeah, so I'm just, I don't know. Wanted to share that with you in case you never heard of it out there, or maybe you had this happen to you, and now you know.
And if you have had it happen to you, let us know.
Yeah, and also they also said that it can, and some people have reported this, but it can also be associated with a flash of light, like in your peripheral.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, there's also some old world paranormal explanations for that too. Obviously,
Yeah, obviously.
Science, medical science has their explanation, and of course, the paranormal organizations have their explanation for what happened.
Right. Everybody will have an explanation for it.
Well, it was very hard to find anything about this trying to Google it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you Bing it?
I didn't Bing it. But guess what? Here's a random thought for you. This is a complete sentence. Ready? Siri, Google Alexa. That's a complete, proper sentence.
Wow.
Yeah, you just shook your head. Yeah, it's confusing, right?
This is so you can understand what I just did, people. I went, right? What?
Yeah.
3 words.
That is a complete sentence.
Wow.
Yes, there you go. So
Siri, Google, Alexa.
Right. So, okay. We got some good stuff to talk about on the show. What was that?
Alexa responding.
Really? That's creepy.
Because I just...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Well, good. Then don't. So
Alexa just responded.
I've been asked by the lunch crew, by the way, to try to find a way to incorporate Alexa into the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
we'll figure
lunch
it out.
group, we just did. Yay.
So coming up on the show, got a great show tonight, this morning, whenever you're listening.
Yeah.
We have to talk about, we're going to go back and revisit somewhat two stories from before. One is an update, and the other is a "Are you effing kidding me?" type of thing. And then Wombat of the Week, a new one this week, and an amazing Hero of the Week on Honor Thy Heroes later on the broadcast. So that's all coming up here on the show. So what we're going to do, I think, is take a quick break to wet my whistle, and we're going to come back with more of the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen right after this
lovely Sharen.
brief interlude.
This is New York's super oldie station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
Hello, folks. This is Captain Cranky, and I've been reading the paper, and I see where a lot of parents are upset over these new dial-it services that the phone company has for children. Like Dial a Fairy Tale, Dial a Bedtime Story, Dial a Porno Queen, and the phone company then charges them 50 cents a call. And some people are finding out that their phone bill is now $60, $75 a month. Hey, for once, I'm on the side of the phone company. Let's face it, that's just part of the cost of having children. I mean, after you give birth to one of these rugrats, you're just going to be paying through the nose for the next 18 years anyway. So what's the problem? So what if the kid is spending 50 cents a call playing Dial the Easter Bunny? Look at the bright side. At least I'm not doing something that costs even more money, and that's the problem with kids today. They're too much like us. You see, you have to accept the fact that if you're going to teach kids how to dial, then they're going to go and call up Guam every now and then. And it's the phone company wants everybody to make sure that their kids know how to dial. They always say that your kid should know how to dial in case of an emergency. And then, of course, they run those dial-it commercials during the afternoon cartoons when the parents are out of the house. But the main reason kids use those dial-it services is because their parents don't know how to entertain them. If they played the right kind of games with their kids, the kids would never use the phone, except in emergencies. Let me give you an example. My brother and his wife have a lovely 4-year-old daughter. We'll call her Brat X. And you know how 4-year-olds are. Once they get an idea into their heads, the only way to shake it out is with the business end of a 12-gauge shotgun. Well, anyway, she gets this idea in her head that her Uncle Captain Cranky is going to take her to Sesame Place. Now, deep down inside, I know that I never promised her I was going to take her to Sesame Place because I have this personal rule. I never go anywhere that doesn't have a liquor license. It's a rule, and I have to abide by it. Well, anyway, she keeps saying to me over and over, when are you going to take me to Sesame Place? When are you going to take me to Sesame Place? Well, finally, last Sunday, I couldn't take it anymore. I had nothing else to do because the damn Sunday paper was all screwed up. And one thing I know, but she doesn't, is that Sesame Place isn't even open this time of the year. Well, anyway, I put her in the car and start driving around so much she doesn't even know where the hell she is. And I pull up in front of this abandoned, burned-out warehouse in North Philadelphia. And I've got tears in my eyes. And I turn to her and I say, oh, my God, Sesame Place burned down. And all the Muppets are dead. You know, deep down inside, I think the kids really love it when you lie to them like that.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen, and we're here for you. We are blood, sweat, and tears to entertain you, so hopefully we are doing just that. Welcome back to the show. Got a couple things we want to squeeze in because, you know, the lovely Sharen is only here for a certain amount of time, limited time only. Limited time only. That just came to me.
Oh, my God.
The lovely Sharen. For a limited time only.
Right.
Kill me. So.
Oh, my God. You all heard that.
So.
You heard that. He imitated Alf from the TV show Alf. He does do it. And y'all heard it.
Okay. So, real quick announcement. Our culinary correspondent, Sean Goward, has a new video this week. Last week, if you listen to the podcast, I bashed Burger King's their Impossible Whopper, or what were they calling it? The plant-based Whopper. I call it the plant-based slab. So, yeah, culinary correspondent Sean Goward video review, and be sure to check in on social media on Sunday evening on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube for that video to get his reaction to the Impossible Whopper. Yeah. Exclusively here on the Joel Michalec Show. So, now I want to go back. We talked about the war between Popeye's chicken and Popeyes and who was it? It
was Sunday.
What? Chick-fil-A?
Yeah.
Are you sure they were the ones that were in the war with them? I thought it was KFC.
No.
Oh man.
Man. I'll look it up.
While you're working on that, okay. Oh wait a minute. Yes. Prompted by a viral feud with Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A and Popeyes were having this feud on chicken sandwiches, and we thought it was outrageous because people were being ignorant and rude, and there were all kinds of videos and stupid videos, fights breaking out inside the Popeyes over the chicken.
I know, right?
And, you know,
that's ridiculous.
I remain on my same stance. It's just a chicken sandwich.
I know, right?
It's just a chicken sandwich. Well, outside of a Maryland Popeyes, a fight broke out over the popular fried chicken sandwich. Okay? And according to the Prince George's Police Department, the 28-year-old who has not yet been identified was killed at a restaurant outside Washington, D.C. in Oxon Hill when he was stabbed to death over a Popeyes chicken sandwich situation.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. The fight began after somebody cut in line.
Wow.
So, listen. For you to get mad over a chicken sandwich at a fast food restaurant makes you the jackass of the year.
Absolutely.
I don't understand.
That's too rich for a wombat. That is a jackass of the year. Yes.
I don't understand. What is wrong with people? What happens to people that they feel like that they can act like this?
I know.
You know, there are other places you can eat. I'm sorry. The chicken sandwich can't be that good. It can't be. And
nothing is worth that.
I considered for a brief moment to send our correspondent out in the field to find out, but I don't want him getting hurt. Not over a chicken sandwich.
No.
You know?
No, because that's just ridiculous.
He can just go to Burger King where the lines are really not existent, but...
I know, right?
So I just don't understand that. And I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I mean, how about being a human being and not a jackass about this?
Right. Come on.
I just don't get it. The police are saying we do not know yet whether this was a result of a dispute over one of the products or something unrelated, such as the button in line. But for someone to lose their life in a parking lot over a chicken sandwich is very sad and very tragic.
It is.
And it is very sad and very tragic.
It is. It's
now
unfathomable.
On a positive note, this happened in Maryland, okay? So this guy who stabbed him may actually get the full extent of the law. Had this happened in a Popeyes here in the first state of Delaware, the guy would have been released on bond after 5 minutes because this is the released on bond state. They don't hold criminals here anymore.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So maybe a positive outlook that maybe he'll actually serve a little justice or serve a little time.
Yeah.
He'll be served up some justice. That's what he should get, a nice fried justice sandwich.
Right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And put him in a cell with Bubba.
His boy.
So this is what I said. One of the stories that was going to come back sort of in a really bad way. It's very tragic and
it is. It's horrible.
It's unbelievable that this kind of stuff happens. So so that's that. Now I said I had another one that was kind of reviewing a bit of the past and so let me tell you folks. You'll remember the crash on Delaware Route 1 last year.
Oh, my God, you're reading my mind.
The life of a man and his 4 daughters. And the wife survived. And so if you recall this, because it was on national news, it affected a lot of people in this area. We were actually traveling on vacation the night it happened. So, even when we got to our destination.
It traumatized you and I. And we weren't even involved in the accident.
Right. And then when we reached our destination at the campsite, the campfire that chatter that night was talking about that. I mean, this was really...
Yeah.
This affected a lot of people. So, this guy in a work truck, somehow left his lane of travel and caused this whole havoc thing. He gets a year probation.
You know why?
Because he made a plea deal.
Well, yeah, but right at... his defense attorney came up with this brilliant defense. He had a sneezing attack, and the sneezing attack caused him to lose control of his truck.
Well, let me say this. That is the most information that I've gotten from anyone. Because that was the one thing I wanted to know what happened in that truck. And I didn't think that the news media either got that information or released it.
It was... Go on MSN.
Well, I can't go on MSN. I have the story here from Delaware Online.
Okay.
I can't talk and review. So
no, but it was a story that came out in T-Pack, New Jersey.
Something like that, yeah. T-Pack?
T-Pack, yeah.
T-Bag.
Anyway, it was actually...
D-Bag, New Jersey.
The father was a retired Navy personnel, and he was working in the post office in the Bronx, I believe.
Okay.
But anyway, it was this big whole news story covered from Teaneck, New Jersey.
Well, so the thing is, there was some, from what I read from the current article, there was all kinds of haggling back and forth, and I don't know how this all came about, and there's multiple opinions from all different parties, from all different sides about what happened, the plea bargaining and whatnot. But yes,
I'm sorry. He did get a year's probation. However, if he violates his probation at all, the most minor infraction will send him to prison for 14 years.
I don't know.
I just had to.
I mean, I get that, but still, I mean, you can be a good guy for, 12 months. I just, for me, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about the 1 year probation thing. As it all adds up, and I'd rather not take a side. I just want to present this to the audience, and they should make up their own mind, because, like I said, there's so many different. There's a lot of sides here. And you know how I feel about mounting an argument. Sometimes you mount an argument and then you end up making enemies because they don't see it your way, and some people believe you don't have an opinion in this world anymore.
And a friend of mine and myself got into a lengthy argument over this news story. Okay, she agreed with the sentence and felt that it was justified.
So, all right. So here's my small stance on why I disagree with it.
Okay.
Minor and small stance I'll make, and then we'll escape to something else. But my thing is this. When I was taught to drive, okay, and I had to read the book and take the test on a computer, then take the driving test and answer questions to the state police, given the exam, blah, blah, blah. We were taught that when you get behind the wheel, okay, you are responsible. You have got to be alert and responsible for what you're doing behind the wheel. Now, okay, I understand. I sneeze all the time when I'm driving. Yeah. But if I was getting into a fit, I would try to get over to the side of the road. Same as I would say to you, if you got to take that call, if it's ringing, pull off the side of the road. You know what I mean? Again, you have to be, so I get it and I don't. And the don't part of me says, if he was in a fit or having an issue or has a known issue with sneezing, you should get off the road if you're having an episode. There was someone else in the truck. Why didn't you have them drive? If you have a sneezing condition that will impair your ability to drive a vehicle, why does the company allow you to drive that vehicle? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's a small part of it, and I don't want to go into. I just wanted to update people because we said this before. It's very hard for us to get updates, but this was a major story, impacted a lot of people, and now this verdict comes down, and it affects a lot of people again in different ways. But that's the update. Let me check our time here. Bing bong. I'm in the wrong window. Okay, so. That is that, lovely Sharen.
That is that.
You're going to love this one. This one.
Am I?
This one almost made Wombat of the Week, but it got pushed out of the way for something else.
Oh, yeah?
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I need your attention for this.
Undivided attention. You got it.
A 22-year-old Instagram influencer says that kids should learn less about World War II in school because it's so intense.
What?
Yes, Instagram influencer Freddie Bentley said in an interview with Good Morning Britain that kids should learn less about World War II. The 22-year-old said that he wishes he learned less about one of the most important events in human history while he was in school, saying it was so intense. I don't think it needs to be in such a young way to young children. Like mental health, to be told this certain amount of people died for you. I just learned as a child, and it was just so intense to be taught that.
Wow, so is he suing the school?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's so... Never mind.
So the conversation about World War II arose after, on last Thursday's episode of the UK version of the reality show The Apprentice, one team struggled to identify 1939 as the year the war began when Germany invaded Poland. So, Bentley questioned the utility of teaching about the 70 million people who died in the war, and recent polls show that there's growing ignorance around the world about the Holocaust. And, of course, I've said it before, a lot of history is being ignored or just erased from textbooks.
Yeah.
Teachers are being told not to teach this, that, and the other thing. And, So he says, I don't think encouraging death or telling how many people died in a world war is going to help anybody.
Wow.
He doubled down on his position in an Instagram post Saturday, offering a zero-sum view of education. He said that he wishes schools focus more on current events. He said those lessons should be taught at the expense of lessons about one of the most important events in the last century, where a charismatic fascist leader rose to power in a democratic society and enacted brutal policies that led to the death of a mass scale around the world. He says World War II needs to be taught in moderation to promote mental health and focus on teaching young people real-life skills and to prepare for current issues that are relevant to us, such as how to get a mortgage, what's the real impact of Brexit and climate change for the future generation.
Okay, moron.
So I just want to say, first of all, dude, you're 22 years old. Life hasn't began chomping at your ass yet.
I know, right?
That's first of all. Second of all, you're an Instagram influencer. What in the hell is that? What?
We need to stop it.
What is an Instagram
See, that's
influencer?
how we are, people. We just complete each other.
If he's an Instagram influencer, guess what I am? I'm a bullshit influencer.
Well,
okay?
you kind of are.
I mean, this is insane.
Oh, my God, that's horrible.
So this, you know what the problem with this is? This is an exact snapshot of what education, or lack thereof, is doing to the youth. Now, he's 22, maybe, I don't know, is he fresh out of college? Did he go to college? I have no idea. I don't really care.
Right.
Okay? But
he's a moron.
I stand at the pulpit and I say we not only need to know more about World War II, we need to teach kids more about World War I. The single largest paradigm shift in the world, which still affects us today in 2019. And he's worried about the amount of people dying for you is too intense to be learning.
Wow.
I mean, you know, here, let me offer you a prescription for Grow a Set.
Oh, my God, I love that.
Why don't you go see if you can influence a grilled cheese sandwich and a cup of soup?
Oh, my goodness.
Moron. He's lucky he's not the Wombat of the Week. I could have held this over for another week.
I'm sorry.
Because he could win
I'm taking a break from this nonsense.
He could easily have won the annual Wombat of the Week award, because we're going to do Wombat of the Year from all the Wombats this year. I don't know.
I don't know. He would be top of my.
Isn't that amazing, though? Wow.
He's just a moron.
I mean, you know, this goes hand in hand, though.
But
with,
you know what? People listen to morons like him.
Exactly. And what scares me the most is these are the people that will be running the world in 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Oh,
morons. Hello, I'm President Moron.
I'm standing here with Vice President Moron.
So yeah, that's
crazy.
I'm gonna save that one for the last part of this segment. So I know you're getting out of here. I want to remind everybody that our culinary correspondent Sean Goward, his video review of the Impossible Whopper will appear Sunday night all over social media and YouTube.
Yep.
I don't know why I say social media and YouTube. YouTube is supposed to be part of social media.
Social media.
But I feel like it should be said separately.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Anyway, wow. Don't pull your hair out over me.
No, it's over these dumbass people.
So, all right.
I just can't get it.
After the break, I will be back and we'll do a new Wombat of the Week. We will do a incredible hero this week on Honor Thy Heroes. And if time permits, one last thing. Say goodbye to lovely Sharen.
Goodbye to lovely Sharen.
Bye, Sharen.
Oh, I'm going to hurt you.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Broadcasting from a crummy little studio in Baltimore, Maryland. This is Reality One Radio.
You see why we need your donations?
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. This is our third segment, or what we call the home stretch, the final stretch. There's all kinds of names for this part of the show, but it is the final segment, as it is broken into 3 segments. And we have a couple things that we do regularly in this segment, including Honor Thy Heroes, coming up, a really good one this week. And also, we will crown a new Wombat of the Week winner. And there is the proverbial buzzer. Okay, so anyway, also, don't forget, check in on our social media. Visit the Joel Michalec Show's YouTube and other social media outlets, which I'll remind you of later on at the end of the broadcast. And check out Sean Goward's newest video. He explores the impossible Whopper. And it's nearly impossible for me to hold my tongue and not tell you about the video. Go and check it out. It will be available on Sunday evening, soon after the show drops. So do yourself a favor and do that. So diving right in. If we have time tonight, we'll also talk about one last thing. I always like to have one ready in case time permits. But let's get right into the Wombat of the Week. Never disappointing are the Wombats of the Week. And not in the least this week, we did have, if you were listening to the show earlier, we had that 22-year-old Instagram influencer who knows so much about education. And he knows that educators should not be teaching students about World War II because, my goodness, it was so intense. He almost made the Wombat of the Week, but was pushed out by Jeffrey Falls. Let me tell you about Jeffrey Falls. Last Saturday morning, police arrested Jeffrey Falls after receiving a call from a homeowner in Louisiana's Balcomville area, saying there was a nude man in his chicken coop, which the nude man was tearing apart from the inside. When the officers arrived, they found Falls still naked, attempting to clean the coop's floor with his hands, I guess scratching like a chicken. I guess that's what he was doing. So police spoke to the homeowner. He said he did not know the man, and certainly, of course, did not want him in his chicken coop. Well, that goes without saying. He says when the man arrived on the scene, he turned over a few plants on the porch before heading to the coop. Officers examined Falls and noted dilated pupils and erratic, jerky body movements. And when they interviewed him, he admitted that he had done, quote-unquote, way too much meth, and then attempted to have a conversation with the door of his vehicle. When the door didn't answer him back, Falls became very upset and took his anger out on the chicken coop, letting out a pair of the birds before damaging the floor of the enclosure. Officers did take him into custody, and he was booked in the Owecha Correctional Center and charged with criminal trespassing, simple criminal damage to property, and disturbing the peace. And bail was set at $900. Wow, $900. But here's a little tidbit for you, folks, a little additional here. Chicken coops and meth make strong bedfellows. Back in September of 2018, police in Arkansas arrested Dustin Manus on existing warrants after they saw him walking through a yard. They gave chase and eventually apprehended him inside of a chicken coop. In 2016, Georgia police raided a home in Gordon County with a warrant to bust a meth trafficking operation. The suspect, Michael Leon Patton, was at the location and fled the scene, leaving a large amount of meth behind. He hid in, guess what, a nearby chicken coop, and was able to use the birds for cover to evade an early escape. So, yeah, wow. I guess chicken coops and meth sort of go together like rice and beans. I mean, I don't know, but I guess in the South, maybe there's a lot of chicken coops in the South because people who get hopped up on meth wind up at some point inside of a chicken coop, apparently. Listen, I wish drugs weren't this much of a problem, but this really is a problem to get to be so hopped up that you strip naked and you're in a chicken coop. It's just not a really good idea. Possibly maybe find a way to get off the meth. So at least if you're naked in a chicken coop, at least you can say it wasn't meth. It wasn't from doing loads of meth or anything like that. However, but for now, Jeffrey Falls not only joined in the list of people who have been high on methamphetamines and hiding out in chicken coops, also the winner of this week's Wombat of the Week. How can you get involved with Wombat of the Week? Well, that's pretty simple to do. All you need to do is send us a news story of stupid people doing stupid things. Send the news clipping or the link to the news story to us at joelmichalecradio@gmail.com. You can also send it to wombat@joelmichalic.com. And you can also send it to us on Facebook by way of instant message at JM Talk on Facebook. And then your story most likely will find its way into the Wombat of the Week at some point. They don't have to be recent. As you've seen, some of our stories go back a little ways. And sometimes that's from a lot of stories coming in and they end up getting into a line. So that's how you can get involved with that segment. And we hope that you do. Next, what we want to do is the Honor Thy Heroes. Let me tell you a little bit about this segment. This segment is our way of honoring everyday heroes, and it's not that they have to wear a cape or a badge. It could be anybody. And besides us scouting the internet for stories of everyday heroes, you can send in everyday heroes as well. We had 3 submissions this week, and we only have room for 1, really. So, but the good news about that is I think the month of November on the podcast will seemingly be filled up with everyday heroes for this segment. If you want to send your segment in, or you want to send in your link to a news story of somebody going above and beyond, you can just send the link to us at joelmichalecradio@gmail.com, or most listeners send the link in on Facebook at JM Talk, so you can do that as well. No problem. We'll take it any way we can get them in. And I have to tell you, folks, I'm really stoked about this week's offering for Everyday Heroes. So here's the news story, and this actually it's a hero, and it's got a sports link to it, basically. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fly through the story because you have to hear it. It's very well written about what this guy does. Check it out. When it comes to fighting let me start again. When it comes to fighting against breast cancer, former Pittsburgh Steelers running back DeAngelo Williams isn't stopping anytime soon. To date, Williams, through the DeAngelo Williams Foundation, has covered the cost of 500 mammograms. This is according to Today.com. He first began sponsoring the screenings in 2015, about a year after his mother died from breast cancer. Williams, who is 36, also has lost 4 aunts to the disease. He says to be able to help all these women is amazing. This can be life-changing for these women. Williams, who played 8 seasons for the Carolina Panthers before he played 2 seasons for the Pittsburgh Steelers, made this statement on Today. We are enabling them to get this care that no one should ever be denied to have access to these screenings. And so far, Williams' foundation, through the 53 Strong for Sandra program, named in honor of his mother, and references the age she lost her breast cancer battle, has covered mammogram costs at hospitals in Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Arkansas, and North Carolina. The program initially started in Charlotte at the Charlotte Radiology and Levine Cancer Institute. Williams, according to Today, who also largely behind the bid to allow NFL players to wear pink cleats in October in light of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, in 2015 reportedly asked the league if he could wear pink all year, but that request was denied. DeAngelo wants to ensure that no women or men fight breast cancer alone. This according to Rosalind Williams, who is his wife and the executive director of the foundation, as they said in a statement to Today. Also, I found out through doing some other research on this story, they are planning to do whatever they can to increase that number of free mammograms for people who need it. I mean, if you think about the implications of that, think about the implications of people who cannot afford health care or are underinsured and can have breast cancer screening done because of the charity of this man and his organization. This is amazing. This is the type of everyday hero you want to hear about. This is the kind of stuff that just makes you believe again in humanity. It warms your heart, and you get pumped up and excited to hear this kind of stuff. And the alarm is going off. The alarm is going off, Molly. It's okay. Molly's protecting us. This is the everyday hero. This is the person. The people that make these kinds of contributions to society, and to think that this wasn't bigger news than it was. Like, why wasn't this carried by everybody everywhere when the story broke? And the fact that he's been doing it now for 4 years. 4 years. So, this is an amazing thing that D'Angelo Williams is doing. Amazing. And so I, and on behalf of myself, the lovely Sharen, want to thank D'Angelo Williams for providing this opportunity. Providing this opportunity for people who can't do it, who don't have the means to do it. And I'm honored to be able to have him on Honor Thy Heroes. And especially since they want to expand this. They don't want to just do these couple of cities. They want to expand it everywhere. So that's exciting stuff. And D'Angelo Williams, you're a hero every day, buddy. But this week you were the honorarium of Honor Thy Heroes. The honor this week on the Joel Michalec Show. Thank you very much for your contributions to society and for helping women and, according to the foundation, some men be screened for this type of cancer. Just awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have time for one last thing, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Amazon. My drink is empty, and the lovely Sharen stepped out, so my throat's dry. It's parched. Anyway, so Amazon, we're coming into the holiday season, and shopping's going to get big. And when you think of online shopping, who do you think about? You think about Amazon, because Amazon has created. They're synonymous. I don't want to say they created. They're synonymous with online shopping now because they sell everything. Everything. And if they don't sell it now, guess what? They're looking into selling it soon, including pharmaceuticals. So when people think of safe online shopping, they think about Amazon. And fact, Amazon controls about half of the U.S. online retail market. And Amazon takes in about 5% of the nation's total retail spending. Okay? So there's two facts. But what happens when you get too big? I've said it before in large and small scale. Never too big to fail. And so what we're seeing is maybe some failures happening because they've gotten too big. And what I mean is, first of all, there is an overwhelmingly large amount of complaints on wrong products being delivered. Okay, for example, you order a 50 count of tea lights, or you end up getting a 25 count of a different brand. So the brand's incorrect, the count's incorrect, and you expect that you paid for these items and you should get them. I mean, society, the way society is, it has created this flux of going shopping online, right? Because of the way society has gotten. So you want to capitalize on that. You want to make the best of it. You need to be sure things go well. So an overwhelming amount of complaints about wrong orders. Okay, why is that? Well, there's no secret that the staff, many people complain that the Amazon staff workers are underpaid, underappreciated, and treated very poorly. And nothing makes for a terrible employee than a mistreated, underpaid, underrespected employee. They become a really bad employee. Now multiply that by X amount. And now you have people who don't care. They're not committed to their job. And so mistakes are made, whether they're on purpose or accident. The mistakes are made. Orders are shipped out wrong. Okay. So that's one thing I want to warn you about. The other thing I want to warn you about is logistics. And you've probably heard me say this before, but Amazon has gotten really terrible at logistics. I think they're trying to work on that. You see, what happened was they used to ship with UPS and FedEx, and I don't know what happened. I'm not going to sit here and guess. But suddenly, you started seeing more of the lockers opening up, started seeing more of these Amazon trucks around. I recently found out that most of the Amazon trucks that you see, the little vans and everything, they're franchises. Amazon's trying to leverage the logistics. Sort of, first they wanted to take them in-house. I think it was to make it more profitable. But then they started having this opportunity where people can set up a franchise and do logistics for Amazon. And I think that's what's making it work better, is offering it like a franchise. Because I think when they were trying to do it themselves, again, I think you're trying to do too much. You're trying to put too many eggs in the basket. And it was making things bad. So then I myself experienced on more than 2 or 3 occasions, orders not even showing up. And then the customer service are like, I don't know what happened, but here's $5 off plus your refund. I mean, no, I ordered this. I want it. That you're just making me angry. So, having said this, I still do order from Amazon. I have success stories too, personally, and everyone else does. But the pockets of issues are becoming larger. And, that's the thing. For one last thing, I'm just saying, think about these things, And I haven't done it yet, but maybe if it's a small order, maybe take advantage of the lockers. Maybe that does better. I find better success when things are delivered to an office. So when I order things, I have them delivered to my office at work. I find that it works better that way. So just one last thing, be careful. And when you're doing your holiday shopping online, because, what's going to happen is other retailers like, Walmart and other department stores, they're going to start increasing their marketing presence because they're going to take advantage of these slippery slopes that Amazon is sliding down. You watch. Mark my words. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us on the podcast this week. It's totally awesome to be with you each week. Be sure to stop by the website at www.jmtalk.net. Subscribe to the program, please. Hey, leave a review if you want. Check out the 24/7 stream. If you can't live without us in between the shows, we'll entertain you during the course of the week. And also visit us at Facebook at JM Talk, Twitter, and Instagram at JM Talk Radio. And we will look forward to seeing you next time on the podcast. Remember, be good to one another and pick up 3 pieces of trash while you're out and about. Goodbye, everybody.